Hi there, my name is Sonia Boko and welcome to my channel. I am a balloon artist from Darwin in Australia and I create balloon tutorials, sharing with balloon artists tips, tricks and techniques on how to create beautiful balloon art. The tutorial I'm excited to share with you today is requested by my friend Contessa Luna, and that is of a unicorn headband. What we're going to be looking at today is how to recreate this beautiful headpiece, as well as I'm going to give you an alternative design idea for when you might be shorter on time. And in addition, if you watch all the way to the end of the video, I'm going to share with you another special design idea that you can use this for. So let's get to it. To recreate this design, what you're going to need is a headband. What I really love to use is headbands that are 1 inch thick. Now I do find it harder sometimes to get my hands on those, and the thinner ones will do, but I really find to provide the best structural base for this that we have a nice wide one. So this one is 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters wide, although a 1/2 inch might be good. 1/4 inch or so I'm less a fan of, but if you've got it, you can make it work. Now, the other balloons used in this particular design is a white 260 for the ears. We have a 260Q modeling balloon for the unicorn swell, and then we have 160 flowers adorning the design. You may like to use 260s for the flowers, however, I try to reduce the bulk as it tends to have a lot of areas competing for space if you're using a 260, so I like to reduce it by using the 160s. However, if you've got it, you can make it work. This here is a 260 that has been stretch inflated, and I'm going to show you that technique as we go, but that has allowed it to go thinner than the standard 2 inches wide, so it is 1 inch wide in diameter approximately that we are working with. But I'm going to show you exactly how right now, so let's go. Alright, so here we have the 1 inch headband. So I find this is the ideal base to work with for the design. And I have gone ahead to inflate the balloons that I'm going to use, and we're going to start with the unicorn ears. I've inflated a white 260 and I've got approximately 1.5 hands left uninflated, give or take. To create the first ear, what we're going to do is create 2 1 inch bubbles, and then we're going to pinch twist them together. So we have one 1 inch, which is approximately 2.5 centimeters. And there's our second. Another great unit of measure is that's approximately a 2-finger bubble. I'm going to go ahead to grab that knot. Make sure it goes around the twist, but stays out of the inside. We don't want it to interfere. I'm just going to take that nozzle, thread it through the middle, and again I'm looking out for that knot to join me on this side. And then I'm going to pull these two apart and twist them in opposite directions until they lock in place. The next part of the ear is very similar to my balloon turtle tutorial with the fin. We are going to use a demi twist. Now, if you prefer, you can get away with just doing a petal twist, but I love creating that little extra element of beauty by incorporating that demi twist. So to do so, we are going to determine the approximate height of our finished ear, and mine is approximately 5 fingers wide. I'm going to start twisting the balloon towards me. And I'm going to do so at a point just a little bit past the curve. Start twisting. Now I don't want to go all the way because I don't want to create a full twist. But then I'm going to make a bubble that's approximately 3 fingers wide. So just after this little bit of a point, it's about 3 fingers there. I'm going to twist that off, and I'm going to bring that now into the 2 pinch. So we've got a sweet little ear shape starting to happen. We're going to now incorporate it onto the headband. Now, as we are doing this next step, what I'd like you to do is to force a little bit more of the air towards the tail end, because we want to create a little bit of a flat part where there is no air. We are going to take the headband, place our pinch twist off to one side in the center, Now going ahead to move the balloon in a gentle kind of motion. I don't want to create any friction tears here. until that's nestled nicely in place. I'm going to go ahead and remove the excess balloon. Now, I don't know about you, but as a balloon artist, I always tie off the excess tail where I can, so as to be able to keep working with that balloon without the air escaping. What about you? Do you tie off, or do you rely on just twisting the balloon in? Let me know in the comments below and how successful you find it. Once you've tied off the remainder balloon, you are able to use that excess to create the next ear. So we're going to go ahead to do that. We're going to pop the second ear on there. Now I did that one a little bit quicker so you can get a feel for the real time required to create that design. The last thing we would like to use a white 260 for is to create 2 pinch twists to sit in the middle of the headband, and that's where the horn is going to rest. Now on this instance I did not manage to get it out of all of one balloon, however on this headband I did, so you may find that will vary for you. But what I'm going to go ahead to do is create 2 pinch twists, just using the same technique we did for the unicorn ears. So we really only need that pinch twist on there. So what I'm going to do, like when I was placing the ears on, pop that into the center. I'm going to squeeze some air out of that middle, wrap it around the headband. Bring it back up into the center and twist it into place. I'm going to go ahead to remove this excess. Now at this stage, what we're going to have is the 2 ears and the pinch twist nest in the center where the horn is going to go. We are going to use these center bits here as attachment points as well for the flowers. So let's keep going. So on our balloon unicorn horn, this is using a 260 modeling balloon in the chrome. However, if you weren't using chrome, I'd recommend you just go ahead to use a 160, because we are going to use a 260 and do this stretch inflation technique so we can get it to be a bit more finer. Otherwise, if you're using the 260 for this, it will come across as too bulky for the design. Michael Floyd also has an amazing design for a narwhal, and it's a beautiful way to use the unicorn horn. That's whom I learnt that particular technique from, but I'm going to go ahead to pop it in the description box below because I think you're going to love that tutorial. But we are going to now do the 260 stretch inflation. As I inflate the balloon, I am going to be holding it securely on the nozzle end to my pump, and I'm going to be pulling up rather firmly the rest of the balloon. So you'll find that it will inflate in the way much like a 160, and then when you release and the pressure comes pouring through, then it starts to look a bit like a 260, but that's more than enough balloon. We're not going to use all that. I am going to let a little bit of air out and then tie it off. My horn length, keep in mind you do lose a little bit of height as it goes through all the twists, is just over 2 hand widths. I'm just going to invert the balloon like so. Give it a bit of a squeeze in the top part of the horn to reduce some of the air there, and it comes a bit more to a taper. But now I'm going to go ahead to spiral the balloon and basically moving it around this fashion. Then I'm going to start to twist the balloon where the knot meets the 160. So you can see a bubble which was approximately the 2 hands width high has created a horn of this height. It's actually a little bit shorter than my original one, but that's okay too. Go as long or as short as you like. But I think it's nice and elegant when it might be a bit longer. You don't want it too short. That's not quite as majestic. But we are going to now incorporate it into the headband design. I'm going to now secure it in place. I'm again running the balloon underneath the headband, and it's back up into the pinch twist at the top. I'm going to go ahead to remove that excess. We are done with this chrome balloon. And I really am going to tie that one off. You want to make sure that the horn is nice and secure and in the center there. You may like to do a little bit of arrangement to ensure that the front of the spiral and the back of the spiral are somewhat sitting in the middle of that pinch twist, just to help make it sit nice and securely. Now that we've got to this point, take a breather, we're getting there. But we're going to go ahead to add some flowers into the design. At this stage as well, you might like to start to ensure that it is well aligned, so that the horn is indeed in the center of the headband and the ears placed either side of that. I'm going to allow the balloon to slide a little bit closer so that all these pinch twists are touching. And just reducing the gaps in between the two, because that is going to determine the spacing out of our flowers. To make this next bit a bit quicker, I've gone ahead to pre-twist some of these flowers, but I'm going to go ahead to twist this beautiful rose pink one with you. Now, the colors that I have chosen to use in the headband are wildberry, spring lilac, yellow, and Caribbean blue. So let's start with this flower. When you are tying off your balloon, first of all, leave a decent amount of nozzle, because it is going to become a feature part of your flower in being the center of the design. So we don't want it to get lost in all the twists. The petals are fairly small, and it is a straightforward 5-petal flower. This is barely a 2-finger width. I am going to feed that nozzle through, making sure my knot does make it through to the other side, because that really does help to lock it in place. Now we're going to go ahead to create the next 4 petals. We're attempting to make them all the same size, as you do. Slight variances are okay. We've got the 3. 4. Now let's do number 5. So now we have our 5 petals, and we want to position in the center the nozzle of the balloon. So where we haven't given it enough length, it's going to hide more away in the design. So you really want to, when you are knotting it off, leave at least ½ inch or 1 centimeter or so of a balloon before the knot. Now we are going to go ahead to incorporate this into the design. So starting with this pink one, I'm going to twist a small spacer bubble. It's approximately 1 finger wide. Let's see, we're going to try and put in this headband, but it needs to go into this one, doesn't it? So decide which is the front. At this stage, it's all the same. But we want this flower to go in the center here. So if you do find it easier, remove the excess, making sure you have a little bit of a tail. But to help use friction to keep it in place, I like to make sure both parts of this balloon are still inflated before it goes in. And then we are going to be removing the air from this part of the balloon, and we'll have that leftover tail. So nestle the twist here, just in between the pinch twist here. And twist it in however you like to incorporate it into this part of the design. I will bring this pink balloon around underneath the headband like we did before. However, you may wish to do it in another way, but we are positioning it there in the center and going to go ahead to remove that excess. Now you can play with it a little bit to position it now, or you can wait till the end. But just to show you what it looks like, we are going to put this spacer bubble in between the front of the two pinch twists, so it's bringing it down. And it's also nestled in between the front of the pinch twist and then sitting on top of it. What you need to bear in mind and take special consideration of when you're placing the balloon flowers on is you want to have a bit of a space between the person's head and the bottom of the flower, because when they go to put the headband on, it's going to be wanting to push it away from their head if these flowers are too close. So we do want to maintain a little bit of a distance there, and you may need to play around with the positioning on your own head to get a feel for where it needs to sit before you go ahead to make this one for others. Now I'm going to go ahead to use the other 4 balloons to incorporate those. Again, we are going to create a spacer bubble. I'm going to incorporate it into this ear, and this time, just to show you can do it a different way, I'm not going to wrap the balloon around the headband as well, but I'm just going to twist it into the pinch twist here. Got this border around into the back. Tying it off. Now with spring lilac, repeating that process. So this is what we're looking at so far, and oh my goodness, I think it's looking really cute, so much so that I have to try it on. Sorry. I actually think that the color combination of the spring lilac, the rose, and the wild berry are really beautiful on this design, and together with the chrome, I really love it. But if you wanted to, you could actually finish the design here with the 3 flowers. However, we're going to add the additional 2, but if you are wanting to get through the design a bit quicker, then it's entirely possible to finish it at this point, but let's keep going. All right, so grabbing our next flower, and we're going to go with the Caribbean blue. Now this is where things are going to get a little bit different because we no longer have any additional pinch twists to nestle these into, so we are going to create it with the remainder of the balloons. Pay attention to positioning. At this stage, if we try to put the flower right next to what we have there and keeping it in a similar length as the others away from the design, it's really going to be competing for that space. Our spacer bubble this time is going to be 2 fingers wide, and we're going to follow that with 2 pinch twists, and we're going to make them slightly less than 1 inch because this time we're dealing with a 1/60 and not a 2/60. So to keep it proportionate to a pinch twist, we are making it a little bit smaller, because pinch twists are traditionally the same size as the width of the balloon. So we want this pinch twist to feel nice and firm and secure and not too loose in that area. But just be careful that the pressure's not so much that it causes the balloon to pop. And the space of the pinch twist should allow for that Caribbean blue flower to be slightly in front of the spring lilac. I am using the similar technique to before, where we're bringing the uninflated part of the balloon underneath the headband. I'm going to go ahead to remove that excess. I'm tying this off. And then I can actually position this a little bit closer. So I'm just carefully sliding it closer to that spring lilac one there. And just ensuring that it's resting in front. I don't want it to be competing for space with that spring lilac, because then funny things start to happen. And not funny good. Okay, so our final one, giving it the same considerations as we did for the Caribbean blue. And if you prefer, you could go ahead to get it to this point. Give yourself a decent amount of tail, because we still need to wrap that around the headband. And again, I'm going to move it closer to the design so it's more incorporated in. So it's these pinch twists here on the back, coupled with this spacer bubble, that is helping to keep that flower in position. Play around with it just a little if you need to make sure your positioning is where you want it to be. In terms of where the middle flower should sit, ideally it may sit slightly in front of your spring lilac and your wildberry flowers, just to help it stand out from them. But there we have it. That is our beautiful finished unicorn floral headband. Let's try it on again. Oh, so cute. Oh, I love it so much. This is a design that I think is a lot of fun, but there is the alternative. So as a thank you for watching, I'm going to go ahead to show you just what you can do if you follow my balloon golf club distortion tutorial to make this beautiful. And that's it. The bunny rabbit headband is perfect for Easter themed events, and here's one of me 2019 wearing the design, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun to wear and very much in the spirit of the season. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to give it a big like. If you'd like to see more videos, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Question my life and everything in it. Okay, that's really melodramatic. Let's just do it again. Balloon. What you do need to be wary of with your placement of your flowers, you don't want it to be so low